Alright, I'm back. So let's try to move along with this as quickly as we can. You know, it really pissed me off because when I was there, they keep calling me a news reporter because guess what? In this day and age, a lot of people take a camera, they share what they're doing that day or a vacation they took or whatever they deal. They might be traveling the country and they're just sharing and posting updates of their life. What are you supposed to do? Communicate with what? People on the social networks, right? You share what you're going through. Those who are bolder are going to share more in-depth details. Meaning some people don't care. They can share, they can have adult films on, if that's what you want to call them, on the internet, and they're okay letting it all hang out. I'm one of those people, I don't care. To a point. So them calling me a news reporter was their way of trying to oppress me away from sharing my life story. They wanted me to stay focused on the music because, in my opinion, they wanted to use me as a resource. They're invading my privacy when I'm in the studio because everything's on the computer nowadays. You go through like Dropbox or Google Box or whatever it is. You know, you got all these storage places online. You got these dolls like Pro Tools. You got Cakewalk. You got Logitech or whatever it is. You got, well, not Logitech. I'm sorry, that's a camera company. In my situation, Studio One. And in my opinion, these people have access to directly watching you do what you do. Maybe even taking every WAV file that you lay down as a track. Maybe have access to going into your storage, online storage, and taking things out of it. Or deleting files or doing whatever they want to do with it. They're playing God with your life. And they'll take these songs, like it's been known for a lot of songwriters, and these other recording artists, away they go and they're making money. Or do they take it overseas and sell your songs or whatever they do? Who knows? Who knows what these crazy people do? Okay, so we talked about the mental abuse. So that was kind of like rubbing in my face. And that's because, why did I keep going back to the home I was at? Because there was a part of me that really loved the person that I was staying there with. I mean, really, and to this day, I really love him. A lot. I love the healthy spirit with him. The things like opposition and stuff like that within somebody, I don't care for. I like people who are for me, and I like people being for other people for whatever reason. I don't want to get too much into that right now. But there was a lot of confusion with that, but what I wanted more than anything was be able to get my net, a little basic needs met, so I could actually get on with my life, Joyce Myers, but her teachings kept me to be a submissive slave to all of these people. I was getting my ass kicked, and I was getting kicked out continuously everywhere I went because it wasn't right for me. What was right for me was to learn how to get into my heart and make the right choices intelligently so that I can start moving forward in my own endeavors and have the right relationships. That when you do nice things for them, they're also doing nice things for you instead of you do all the nice things for everybody else. And then they treat you like shit. Ever hear her say, learn to forgive people? Learn to forgive. Why would she say that? You don't have to forgive people so much when you're continuously, what? When you're in healthy relationships, you have to forgive them a whole lot less than a lot of other people. If you're in the wrong relationships, you're going to find yourself constantly biting your lip until it bleeds. Because you got to keep on forgiving people because you're in the wrong relationships. Or very unhealthy and uncompatible and oppositional relationships. By the way, I was never taught through my parents or family or my school system how to have healthy relationships. And when you become somebody who watches these programs like Joyce Myers and stuff, you don't know intelligently how to have healthy relationships, and her sermons, her speeches, whatever you want to call them, will get you to blindly be in unhealthy and incompatible relationships, period. I don't want to talk about that right now. It's coming up. So this guy on a unicycle in man's clothing, and in my opinion, this person who may have been a cross-dresser, I don't know. I don't like to say anything bad about anybody, but it appeared to me like they were trying to make mockery of me. Okay? It just appeared that way. Now, was it true? I don't know. I hope not. When I like to be with someone that likes to cook, I already talked about that, talk around me rather than directly to me. I don't like when people talk around me. And these people, when they would come to me, they wouldn't directly talk to me. They just kind of gave little hints way out here instead of saying, Tracilyn, you did us. I can deal with that. Who couldn't? Some people might not be able to, but I find it best that you just talk to somebody instead of around their head. And these people always talk around their head to try to put something into your brain because it kind of fries it. I mean, think about that. Are they referring to me? Are they not referring to me? What are they talking about? Why didn't the person just pick up the phone and call? You know, the person that I'm referring to with Steven is I was sitting there right beside him and I was doing the best I could with my messed up brain at the time because I was a student of Joyce Meyer's. Which, by the way, he left me know that when I was there, the studio we went into so we made a demo with, he simply told me that what? That Joyce Meyer's has some of her performances, if you will, recordings and stuff that are done within that facility. Whatever they do to it. I'd have to go back in my brain and think about it. Okay? So I'm beginning to think that all of this is tied together somehow. Taught by Joyce and Joel. Joyce and Joel, I used to watch their sermons all the time, and I'm telling you, part of me really, 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 really regrets it. I mean, when we get down to it, would we rather be listening to somebody or doing stuff with our life? Okay. All the bands I spoke about appearing on Facebook, Guns N' Roses together. Okay, so I would be talking about a lot of bands that I liked and stuff, and every time I did, and I would go home to my Facebook, I would realize on the one page, not our timeline page, but where they have all the updates from people on your friends list and stuff, I would realize that what I was talking about would end up being there. Coincidental? No. This is people who are invading my privacy. When I talk about these bands, all of a sudden, they have access to being on my Facebook, whether on the friends list or directly, somehow they have access or equal access to my account to put this stuff on. I'm assuming that a whole lot of these people that invaded my privacy were on my Facebook under fake. Did you ever realize that? That some of the people on your Facebook page, in my opinion, I hate to say it, but I don't think that we should be able to go without using our legal names and stuff, you know? Because who knows who it is? It's a lot of confusion. We got all these fake usernames and we don't know who's who. In my opinion, when you're living your life in truth, you're conducting your behavior much differently than when you're hiding behind a fake username and a fake profile picture. And I don't mean to hurt anybody with that. But more so than not, a lot of it gives people, they become something that they're not really. Meaning, there's a lot of people that use fake usernames and a fake profile picture, and then they're slam different people, they make horrible comments, or they all of a sudden live a life that they would not naturally do if they had to be their self on Facebook or a social network. We all ran into it. I don't know what to say about that, because you don't want the right away that you have to be that way. But I mean, think about it on my end. More so than not, a lot of the people I'm connecting with, it's not their real names and stuff. And now think of how I got to go through life knowing the importance of being true to your heart and being around real people. You want to be around real people. That's really their name, you know. And somehow in your connection, you're doing things together, and it's not filled with nothing but lies all day long. People pretending to be something they're not. I don't want to be like that. I've always really did try. I struggled. Most of us struggle, but I struggle with, I want to live in a life of honesty. It's just a way that somehow I was raised. I just want to really live in a fulfilled life with fulfilling my heart's desires in, you know, being true to myself. And I wanted to share my life with other people. But because of our fucked up school system and our government and the assholes behind everything and our religious teachers from years ago, guess what? I'm dealing with the whole masses of America who were not taught about gender identity. They were not taught about sexuality. Just those two alone screw up a person's life. Just those two alone screw up a person's life. Because now I got to deal with everybody else. I got it right for me. I love to get screwed in the ass. What do you think of that? I love it. And I love to suck dick. I don't want to lick smelly pussy. Now imagine going through life like that where everybody's taught that that's such a horrible thing. Because I have a penis, but I don't identify with a man. That's not what I'm about. So imagine, I got to go through this whole world. I've been lied to about everything, and so have you, and so has everyone else. And there are people on this earth who are educated and they know about this stuff. I'm going to keep saying it. If your school does not teach you psychology, get the hell out of it. Or you're going to have a horrible life, child. You demand that they freaking enroll you in psychology classes. And by the way, stop watching commercial television. It's going to screw up your kid's head. You ever notice that more people support assholes like Jerry Springer than they could ever support people that are trying to live more so in alignment with keeping the drama out of it? I don't know what Jerry Springer's up to before now, but I used to get called when I was an escort by the Jerry Springer show. I forget the lady's name, always very nice. But I wanted to be on the Jerry Springer show because I do like the image of Jerry Springer. I don't like what the show itself is about a lot of times. So I wanted to be on, why not? I'm a songwriter, I'm into comedy stuff, and I think Jerry Springer is very handsome. And just like everybody else, so is Steven. Now here's the thing. They wanted me to be dramatic. I don't want to be dramatic. I feel I have something to offer and I don't need to go on there and pull somebody's wig off their head. Okay? In other words, I can be a part of something without having to be something I'm not. Well, that wasn't what they're looking for. Didn't you screw somebody's husband, you know, who didn't know, or maybe somebody that you screwed that when you were an escort that maybe didn't know that you had a penis? They want the drama. Okay? Tell your child to turn off the show. That kid is going to miss out on such a wonderful life. Don't fill your head with dramatic. Fill your head with things that breathe life into you, child. And all the shows like that. Commercial television is created to screw up the minds of the masses. Plain and simple. Okay. Then I was talking about that, how wonderful or how disappointing it was, because I always believed that Guns N' Roses was one of the greatest bands ever in rock and roll. And I've always believed that, much like some other bands, that it would be a band that would be long-standing and would have lasted and surpassed years if they would have gotten along. Because according to the media, I'm not saying I know, according to the media, it appeared that the band and Axl Rose, they had a falling out and they argued. And didn't you ever realize that sometimes when band members appear to fight, at least in the media, is kind of disappointing. Like, you wish they didn't and they could get along somehow. Maybe you could be a life coach and get them back together or something. Well, I was talking about this stuff, and the next thing you know, guess what? After all these years, Tracilyn standing on a street corner talking about this, all of a sudden Guns N' Roses got back together. And then I started talking about a lot of other things when it came to bands, and I could write them down sometime. That's just the biggest example. The things that I was talking about, they started to act upon. Now, why were they doing? Were they doing it to torment me? Or were they doing it because they believed in what I was saying and they had some agenda or some goal or whatever the reasoning was? Who knows? Facebook used and YouTube things to confirm private. Whenever I was having a private conversation with myself, and sometimes I would talk to these people, I would realize on the YouTube and on Facebook that all of a sudden this stuff starts popping up. Like they're psychologically trying to play, you know, things you talk about manifest into life. Okay, I need a pile of freedom units, money. Where's it at? It's not here. But they kept on like hijacking my brain, and they're doing it to a lot of people through social media. Things you talk about start to manifest on there. It's a psychological game. Okay, if you ever lived with anybody, I lived with somebody, and somehow when they would know that I was talking about certain subjects or whatever, they would put little books down. That's what I mean. Psychology is where it's at. Once you intelligently grab hold of psychology and the power of the mind, you might not be able to fulfill everything that's in your heart because the world keeps trying to take that away from us, but you might be able to have quite a life. Do not get distracted from your heart, ever. Be true in everything you do. The way you walk, the way you talk, the people you hang around with, the places you're interested in going, always do the things that you really love, and you will see that you will be around, I would like to say, more compatible relationships, if only in the moment. We'll find out, because I'm about ready to put it to the test. They kept encouraging me to go back to playing bar rooms. I don't want to be a jerk, but I played over 1,000 venues. Most of them were, my goal as an entertainer was to sell alcohol. I don't want to upset anybody, but selling alcohol is not my passion. Putting on a show, a performance with others is. There can be alcohol in the venue, but I don't even want to mention it into the microphone. It's not my job to sell beer. All right? The beer companies didn't do anything to me but destroy my life in some form or another. Okay? I was raised by a parent who was drunk, all the time addicted to alcohol. She was an alcoholic. My family members, I dealt with it most of my life. I was surrounded by other people like it. It weighed me down so much. I'm not saying it does you, but in my opinion, consuming large quantities of alcohol and being addicted to it takes life away from you. It doesn't give it to you. A lot of people drink to celebrate. I don't want to get too much in detail with that. I don't want to sell alcohol with my gifts, my talent, and my life. I'm not a salesperson for any of the beer distributing companies. They can sell their own beer. I want to do things that are for family-oriented people. And I know that a lot of the stuff by the corporations is filled with toxicity, so I'd rather not sell anything except for put on a really nice stage presence. That's it. Sell my merchandise. And know that chances are the inks, the material that's used is probably induced with all kinds of hazardous stuff. It's scary once you know the details of things like I do. Because you mean well, you don't want to hurt anybody, right? You don't want to contaminate anything, but things happen, okay? It's a big world. And it took many years for it to become what it is today. And you got to focus on the things you love about it, because there was a lot of greed. And a lot of people just simply don't care. Okay, so at some point then I was kind of guided into watching Alex Jones' channel, the Alex Jones channel. Okay, I would not go back to the bar rooms. I freaked out over it. I'll go to like writer nights, like down in Nashville or something like that, or even up here in Ohio. But you know, the thing is I'm ready to do my own thing. So I would love to connect with other musicians and stuff to do my own thing and go on tour and stuff like that. That's where my heart is. I want to go on a nationwide tour playing my music in beautiful theaters. And I'd rather do it with other people who are at some level mature and have their own personal matters taken care of. Just to have fun. Lots of fun. Support each other through it all, okay? Now here's the thing, check this out. While watching the Alex Jones channel, which kept coming up, at that time Alex Jones was talking a lot about the Illuminati, the secret society. I would just call them assholes. And I would tell them that to their face if they were standing in front of me. I'm not scared. Anybody who plays with people's minds like that is an asshole. I play with other people's minds, but I don't want my mind being played with. It's very displeasurable. So at that time, the Alex Jones channel was continuously talking about the Illuminati, and that's how I came up writing the song Illuminati. That was a big thing, everybody doing the triangle around the eye, covering the one eye. I mean, get real. Don't you think that this, where did the Illuminati come from? I never even heard about it. Do you realize that on the internet and stuff, they can just make things up and put it out there? It may not even be real. It may be, it might not be. Who knows? But because of that, my song Illuminati came out, because I was going through a lot of pain and suffering and realizing a lot of this stuff. While watching the Alex Jones channel, I realized that I can't explain it, but it was in my head. It's kind of like a spiritual thing, if that's what you want to call it. But Willie Nelson made his way across. Okay, and at that time I felt sensed within myself, like that was a form of leadership, if you will, and guidance. To pay attention to what Alex Jones is saying. Now, you can say I'm crazy. Willie Nelson can say I'm crazy. I don't care. I am not crazy. And while I was up in Derby, New York, you know, there was a team of people that were supposedly involved with doing videos and stuff for Willie Nelson's, I guess, movie production company. I think so. It was a production company. So, I was really pissed off when I found out that Willie Nelson evidently had connections back to this Poco guy, or whatever his name was, the songwriter. And I believe that in some form or another, Willie Nelson himself, if he was in connection with somebody like that then, and now they're trying to make me be like that. Do you think I like Willie Nelson? Evidently, it's a good chance that he is a part. I'm not saying he is. There is a chance that he could be a part of a large group of people that are very evil. And why would it be that he would be, what, is he drawn to people that evidently have mental problems? Or appear to have mental problems? Why would that be? Could he literally walk up to me and take something from me? Well, what if he had access to other spiritual powers that we as humans are not aware of. By the way, like some other people in the entertainment industry, they like to promote marijuana for a lot of good reasons. It's good for a lot of reasons. It is good for a lot of reasons. It gave me a really bad case of cotton mouth, so I don't really smoke it too much. Willie Nelson, huh? I'm not as crazy as you think. Let's see. One day I wore top-in jeans just like this, similar. Still have them at home. The gentleman walked up to me and mentioned that, giving me from the inside of somebody else, who my presentation looked and agreeing as if it was liked, and reverting me by mentioning about taking out my nose ring and my earrings, meaning the way I presented myself was of some kind of a standard. They were trying to strip me back into being a man. A worldly image of what a man is, by the way. Why? I love being who I am. That's not what the problem is. Why would I want to do that? Once you realize what I realize, there is no such thing as going back. You can't. You are you, forever. Okay, I also realized, and I don't know if this is true or not, you can look up the dates. When did somebody like Taylor Swift, was it for years? When did she start doing a lot of shows with a whole lot of costumes? I mean, with a whole slew of costumes and stuff. That was one of my biggest things that I talked about when I was in the privacy of my home, is that, because I understand, for years I didn't watch commercial television, listen to the radio, none of that. I got away from it. I had to thaw out my brain, and I'm glad I did. Because that's how that was part of the way I lost myself. Listening to the commercial stuff, you gotta be very, very careful. You can easily lose yourself when you get saturated with it. We all have, at least in some form, slipped from our true core of who we are. Now here's the thing, I don't know if that's true or not, but I was under suspicion because I have somebody out here that I'm connected to in Dayton, Ohio, and I have met some people throughout life, and they don't want to talk about it like I'm willing to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. But different things, weird things have happened to them, and people in the music industry most certainly use them up as what I call a resource. And they play mental games to oppress you and keep you, or to try to scare you from doing anything that you would naturally do if they weren't involved in your personal thoughts or playing head games by following you around and giving you little insight that they're watching you. And I don't know if it's true, but I believed from the conversations I had with this gentleman that it was with Billy Ray Cyrus. Well, I realized too, because of the fact that Miley Cyrus had started some kind of trance thing in New York, and while I was in Las Vegas, after I released my diaper video of myself in a diaper, singing to Happy, because I love children and I like to make children laugh, that I saw her dancing on a stage with a diaper on, I started to realize a lot of things. Even in the part that I talked a lot about smiling, which is what I learned from watching Joel Osteen and trying to apply it into my life to keep smiling. I love to see myself smile. I don't like to necessarily, I love to see myself always, but I don't like to see myself not smiling. That means something's out of alignment for me. I should always smile because I really love who I am. Now, with that being said, I believed that in the music industry, I wouldn't call them powerful, they're weak, they're united. There's a bunch of people that work together as a team to go out there and find as much information to connect with the human race because they want to grab the reins of it. And they want to be the ones to dictate and guide it navigate it into whatever direction they want to for their agendas, their reasoning, their purpose, and they use iconic stars, if that's what you want to call them. They use people in general in show business to try to grab brains of people, to get your focus onto them, because then you fall into agreement with what they're talking about. Okay, that was not my intent, but I'm realizing that I was used as a resource for this stuff. Okay? Now, what does that mean? I don't know what it means. You tell me. I think that there could be a possibility that the Cyrus family somehow is corrupted. I believe the whole industry is corrupted. I believe a lot of people take a lot of stuff from people like me. Now, because I don't have the whole song in its entirety, and songs in their entirety that have been taken from me that I'm aware of at this time, or anything else in its entirety at this time, all I have is that I talked about my ideas in the privacy of my home. I knew my privacy was being invaded. I know my ideas are showing up. I know when I'm putting YouTube videos out that all these different people, including like Donald Trump and stuff, you know, that I'm proud to be an American. You know, I put that out with my homeless sign back in 2013 maybe, and I had a problem with an officer who showed up while I was doing that, and it was in my video. You know, it didn't want me there, and I got sick of that, because here in the country it seems no matter what you do, you're being told that you can't do this here, you can't do this there, and I got tired of being bullied around. Okay, anyway, I put that video online, proud to be an American. I'm holding up my homeless sign, and then later on, whether directly or indirectly, at some point later on, guess who is singing at one of the president's functions? Okay, what I'm saying is I believe that if we put my life story out and you listen to it, and then you listen to a lot of the speeches that were done through the president, I believe that there would be a lot of connection to it. Okay? Now some people would say, so what's the big deal? What is the big deal? To me it's a big deal because, in my opinion, I'm not going around and purposely feeding off somebody else or invading their privacy and trying to take something so I can go out and do something with it. Everything that came in my life story was true through my life story, through my perspective of what was going on, my trials, my struggles, and I was staying true in my heart. When I wrote my songs, I can't help what I was exposed to throughout my life, inspired and influenced with, but I didn't go out looking for people standing on a street corner that may be going through a hard time and look to aim to take any ideas and creativeness that they have. Okay? I find that weak. When somebody does that, I find a weakness within that person. In my opinion, there's a lot of people that shouldn't be in the positions they are. If they have to go take something from somebody to be where they are, they're in the wrong place. And if people really realized it, or it happened to them, they would be hurt, and they would most certainly not admire those people anymore. Okay, including myself. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. If I wrote a song, for instance, I would ask somebody, can I write a song about this? I love this story. Do you mind? That's just the kind of person I am. I'm loving, I'm caring, and I don't want to hurt somebody in the process of me doing something. You know, that's just the heart I have. I did that for Catherine's song. Now, here, shared whole life story on floor. What side I'm on. Okay, so really quick, in my bedroom back in Huber Heights, which is in the Sender video, you can see the window. I'm in a pink outfit. Across from there was another bedroom, which is where I have myself in an orange outfit, my dress, and I'm kind of posing and stuff. These people, through my thoughts, had asked me to sit down on the floor and share my entire life story to the details. And I did. And I was hurting. Major pain. Well, evidently this is the process that they do and that they use on their victims. They get them during their time of weakness to pour out their life. They get inspired by this, they write it, they do movies about it, I mentioned about like Nebraska all of a sudden coming out. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love my song Nebraska. And as a songwriter, I wanted to get it cut, as they call it. And, you know, I was hoping to hear, you know, for it to do something. I wanted to get it out there to the masses of the world myself. Now, here's the thing. Check this out. Everyone knows I love that song. All of a sudden, this movie comes out titled Nebraska. We got these other movies. So little things, whether it's my song titles, all of a sudden my song titles are popping up on other people's song titles, other people's movies. Whether it's my name ideas or different ideas that I had, all of a sudden all these other people are doing this stuff. And they're kind of like trying to rub it in my face on Facebook and stuff like that. I realized that in these teachings, and I have felt that way when I was watching Joyce or watching Joel, that a lot of stuff that I was going through in my personal life, like they were starting to talk about. It was like they're observing me and then they're talking about it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it sure does feel like it was true. So a lot of the stuff that I shared in my life story all of a sudden is popping up in show business. Now imagine how that would make you feel. Now, why is that? We all have similar lifestyles because we're all living in America and we're all programmed with the same stuff? Oh, okay. So when I was over at Steven Johnson's house in Derby, New York, we were sitting on a porch, and I realized that a lot of the things that we conversated about, the way that he would look at me when he talked, I gotta be honest, in my perspective, this guy was a psychopath. And he also seemed to be dramatic. And he reminded me of a little kid that was not disciplined well. Because it always seemed like he liked to gossip and stuff. And I felt that it was about me when he would run into other room and talk to other people and things. Nevertheless, when he was sitting in the chair, he had mentioned, and I think I had mentioned to you in other videos, that people like myself usually end up killing themselves when they don't get the help that they need. He also mentioned a few other things that I want to touch base with, because that's what all this is about. I've realized that when I was out at Stephen C. Johnson's, the conversations we had, see, they like to put it in your face, the things in a roundabout way of what they're talking about, and in later years they like to kind of put it in your face. One of the things is what he told me is that he wanted me to forget about him. You know, he wanted me to forget about him. And the reason is because what? When you step out and you do busking, which is one of the things he said, you got to decide if you're going to be, you know, basically in or out, indoors, or if you're going to be doing street performances. But he didn't say street performances. You know, you're going to be outside or you're going to be inside. And then he also mentioned, you know, about traveling like the country. I got to decide if I want to be in a band or do it alone. If I want a band or do it alone. And he talked about a whole lot of other things. And I'm disappointed, period, because here it is in 2017. This conversation happened in October of 2010. When I left his home the second time, I didn't want anything to do with him ever again. I realized that my desire was not going to be fulfilled in that relationship. So, with that being said, Ms. Stephen C. Johnson, you're a jackass. And I can only imagine how many people you have done this to. He thinks it's funny. One of the songs that I recorded was Ragtop Cadillac. He tried to get me to register him as a publisher, whether it be for ASCAP or BMI, because then he would have entitlement or rights to the monies that were established through that song. I never did that because the bottom line is I realized he was a jackass, and I don't do anything, and don't you ever do anything unless it's in a contractual writing that you agree with and you both sign and you both get a copy of the paper. Work. Nowadays, you don't need something like that. Most people do things by themselves. Which makes it kind of painful for somebody like me who would have liked to do things with other people. We're going to talk more about the Steven conversations. I'd rather not talk about him. I can't stand him. I see him as a psychopath. And a very, very, very evil person. I would like to see him investigated. In my personal opinion, I would like to see him arrested. But I believe he's not only doing this to me, I'm sure he's done this to many, and he's continually doing it, and he knows other people who are doing this to other people. So I believe they were using me as a resource, and he's one of the people who gets as much as they can by invading the privacy of your home, taking as many ideas as they possibly can, feeding it and channeling it over to the other people in the industry that they want on the, what they would call front line, if you will. But they're the ones that, hi, I'm on television, and that's what they're really being used for. Hello? Okay, really quick. What I realized is when that pump it video that I was talking about in my video, I'm just making a little video vlog. That's it. Hi. Hello. Bye-bye. Very cute children, by the way. Because the asshole's behind the system, I couldn't have a decent, healthy relationship with my own child. Bastards. Much like a lot of other females in the world, I wanted to have a child to love. And I do have one that I love. I don't know if he's mine, though, and I hope to find out someday. Or screwed up people behind the system make that very challenging. The Pump It video. I noticed one time when I was, after I uploaded the Pump It video, and when I did, I think it might have been my second time, because I did take some things down, and then, or I put them up, or YouTube would block things, or they would reject things as soon as it got up. As soon as I started getting view counts on stuff, all of a sudden YouTube says, and then they would take the video down. And you could file a dispute or whatever like that. So I had to start this time around, start uploading my stuff and putting a lot of it under adult content. Let me tell you, there's nothing adult about it. I'm an adult, according to the world standard, but the stuff that I put up there, I'm so into children, I love children, I am not releasing stuff that's so taboo that it has to be on adult content. That's number one. So YouTube has been continuously rejecting little videos that I made, little funny skits that I would do or whatever. Whether I was in my diaper or I'm wearing a cute little outfit, just totally freaking blocked it out, and you know, and took it down, rejected it. And what used to make me upset about this is you get to see people in mainstream industry and they don't care. There's far worse stuff in their videos and on television than anything I ever would have even thought of doing. Because it's just not where I'm at. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong, but they're doing things that are what the world would consider much worse, and it's okay. Do you get it? But an independent artist, being who they are, and their whole saying would be, you're using that to get views. And the truth of the matter is, no, I'm being myself, and who cares why I'm using it? I'm doing it. Well, when this Pump It video got uploaded, I remember sitting there and I went on and I saw the view counts going up. Now, how is that happening? How is the view counts just going up like that? It's like somebody hijacked my video and they were making the view count go up, the counter on it go up. Well, why is that? How is that? And then I realized that through Facebook, with all this stuff that I was going on, that some of these people in the industry may actually be users on my friend request list, playing mind games with me. I have that to talk about in the near future. And I want to hold off on that because it's going to be a longer conversation. But the bottom line is, while I was in my recording studio, I realized more and more that these people were continuously trying to get me frustrated to take down all my social networks, my YouTube, and everything. In other words, they wanted me to go away in a public setting, and they wanted me to what? Pretty much just go die or something. They used me up as a resource, and that was it. And we're going to cover the year that I started to record my albums coming up. So if you see this video, remind me by asking me when you're going to share it, because it's very interesting. But I realized that Facebook was holding back a whole shitload of friend requests. And one day it was released all at once. At least a lot of it. And then there was this image of Freddy Krueger, remember Nightmare on Elm Street? Who was there in a video right after that happened. It said, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." Okay, so I guess it's a clip from one of the movies or something, who knows? Or one of the videos from whenever. But basically, they were holding back my friend requests. In other words, they're playing psychological mind games with me. The bottom line is, I'm a very attractive person. I'm a very nice person. I usually try to say nice things to other people. And I am very talented with my music. So let me tell you something. Why would I not get millions of views on my videos? Thousands at least. Thousands, hundreds of thousands. One of my pictures alone would have my Facebook have incomings of friend requests, comments, and all kinds of things. They didn't like when I posted myself and I let people know that I'm a transsexual. They don't like when I do that because their hope is that I would go through this life and not tell anybody about it and just live my life as a female, and something very bad happened to me in the process. I will always be completely honest right up front because I know the psychological condition of the human race in America, and the bottom line is, let people know I am a transsexual female. I am not a genetic girl. There is a huge difference. All right? And we're all trying to intellectually come to an agreement of what this is all about. So with that being said, you'll notice on my Facebook page and wherever I am, I'm transsexual. I'm a transsexual female. That's my conclusion of where I came from and I'm at now. So I witnessed this videos, I witnessed this overload of all this friend book or Facebook requests all of a sudden open up, which tells me and told me that day that somebody within Facebook or has access to that account, the details within it that we have no access to, is tampering with my account to try to keep back the masses of people from being exposed to my work, my music, my life. In other words, I don't have equality in it like other people. And because I talk about the subjects I talk about, because I have things like my Elvis art, and by the way, I had a picture of that Elvis Jr. guy who I think is a dickhead. I have had a picture of me and him on my Facebook page, and he was holding my Ragtop Cadillac promo CD. We were doing it together. He was in a jacket. I have one with him in a silver, with a silver CD, and I also had one with him holding, we were both holding the Ragtop Cadillac. Well, guess what? That picture is missing not only from Facebook, it's missing from my hard drives. In other words, when I uploaded it, they somehow know the file name through privacy invading, and they can zap our hard drives. If they know what file you have in your hard drive, they can zap into it and just remove it. from all your hard drives. In other words, they have access to things that we have no idea about. Now imagine how that makes you feel, knowing that, look, whether you're here till you're 100 years old, my great-grandma was in her 90s when she passed on. This is my opportunity for life in this form. Why would I not want to maximize my life to its fullest potential? Now these people, I feel, are threatened by me for some reason, and one of the reasons is the Elvis ice cream art. Because I wrote songs, because I was in love with Elvis. Look, I love, how many of Americans love the image of Elvis Presley? Is it our fault that we fell in love with it? It was crammed down our throats. Okay? I love Elvis Presley, and I'm always going to love the image of Elvis Presley forever. I wrote a song called Ragtop Cadillac that's going to be on my next album. And I believe that there is a possibility that maybe Elvis Enterprise does not like, because Stephen told me too that he used to work for Elvis Enterprise. Okay? Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But isn't it weird that I got to meet Elvis Presley Jr., which I'm going to talk about here in a bit, and Stephen evidently worked at Elvis Enterprise. And now I feel like they're trying to put a stop on the fact that in their opinion, I'd be using it for self-promotion. You know, look at my Elvis art and look at my ragtop video, you know, my ragtop song and all this. Well, guess what? It is mine. It's my shit. It's my life. It's what happened. That's my fame. But it's not the only thing I am. I have so many great songs, it's unreal. I'm not a one-hit wonder person. I have lots of great songs. I also have lots of other unique encounters that happen that I would consider to be that of spiritual nature. Now, we're going to talk about all that. Don't let me forget about the junior part either. Movie titles, Caitlyn Jenner. And I told you about movie titles, whether they were titles of my songs or things in my song, all of a sudden started popping up, like Nebraska. All of a sudden, Caitlyn Jenner started to come out, you know. Now imagine I'm going in my endeavors, I'm wanting to travel the world, or travel the country, touring, doing my music. Originally I wanted to write a book too. And share my life story. Basically share my life story and do music and stuff. And all this stuff is happening to me now all of a sudden, while these people were telling me to go back, that it wasn't that long after, go back, go play bar rooms and basically take the nose ring out, take the earring out, stop wearing makeup. They're trying to convert me into a man, pretty much so. And all of a sudden now, Caitlyn Jenner is out. Caitlyn Jenner? Well, I don't want to get into any arguments with anybody else, but the bottom line is, it's a coincidence on my end because I'm attempting and trying to do something, and all of a sudden, here comes Caitlyn. All of a sudden, I'm noticing different things with Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, all these different people of different things, of things that I've either talked about to myself, to other people, or content that I was putting out onto the internet. So in other words, when I stepped out in 2012, look the hell out, because that's when it seemed that the butterfly effect started to occur. And a wave was across the United States. And guess who got their butt kicked in the process of it all? When I was standing in the kitchen at Huber Heights, in the house, I was down in the kitchen and I realized there were times when I was out in the garage and I was talking to myself that I felt like I was being listened to. When I was in the kitchen, I had mentioned the story of opening up my heart, and in my heart, all of us, to see what's in our heart. All of us having a starter kit inside. Mine was a little cute little cat costume, a little acoustic guitar, and 50 songs. Okay? And I gave this long speech in the kitchen. Sometimes I think I should have been a public speaker myself, because I can just continue on and continue on. And next thing you know, was it on Facebook? Where was it? I see Bon Jovi's what? Album cover with, what is it? A dagger that's through the heart. And meanwhile, I see a lot of pictures within his art that appear to me as an artist were either inspired, which I highly doubt, or just creative insight taken from me and utilized for that. Amanda Todd was really big, so it affected all of us in some way. In the bandage, and I wrapped myself in a bandage. I have pictures of that, Amanda Todd. And I wrote the song. I call it Amanda now. And it's on my second album. So as I'm starting to do things and get my life together, I'm realizing, you know, just like the soldier thing. I had done no, not an American Woman. American Girl with Tom Petty's song, and I had my daddy's Air Force uniform on. So a lot of the things in my videos, I realized resemblance in his album cover art. And it was right after my conversation to myself. Was it when the video came out, you know, with lyrics, and there was a heart, a dagger through the heart. If that's true, then I would have to say that, if it is true, then I would have to say that John Bon Jovi is most likely an asshole. And I don't appreciate it. Showed me YouTube, refresh button, hide videos. Okay, at some point, which we're going to talk about the studio experience coming up. But at some point, through the thoughts, Stephen had me sit down at my computer and go into YouTube and hit the refresh button, and I saw that they can hide my videos or show my videos. So in other words, he was showing me that they have access to my account. And I really do believe that my YouTube page has been minimized its fullest, its potential to reach out to other people. Now I could be right or wrong, but I feel so. I feel that I've been blocked in some manner. We're going to talk about the studio part coming up. I want to also do dreams. So we got studio and we got dreams coming up, because I had a lot of dreams that had rock stars in it. And at first it was cool until you started realizing that people are using your creative ideas and insight for their own personal whatever reasons. So you don't think it's cool anymore when you have rock star dreams. I do not. I want to talk about the leopard. Trying to stay warm. We're going to breeze through this. I want to share with you about my rock star dreams that I had since coming out here to Ohio. And not only that, I would like to share with you my studio experience since being in my apartment in 2014 until now. So I've been there for 3 years. And there's been a lot that happened. And unfortunately, the pressure came to me through the thoughts. They were trying to scare me. And I finally got to the point that I said, I agreed to take down my YouTube page. And the reason that I did that was because I was hoping they would leave me alone in exchange, but they don't. And I can't wait to share with you about how, through a mind-thought process, somehow that they're reaching me through the thought process. That they were threatening to take my name from me, that I trademarked, by the way, Class 41 and 009, because I take music as life and business very seriously. With that being said, I want to share that with you. Should probably take like maybe a half hour or so in my dreams. But right now, we're going to go through, we got half a page yet. They were telling me on the street that no one plays acoustic anymore. No one plays acoustic anymore. So why don't I play electric guitar, I guess? But yet, everywhere I go, and I knew this already, they acted like I didn't know anything. I guess because they overheard that I disconnected from commercial television and radio. I'm not like anyone else. I still listen to the radio once in a while. I still watch TV and YouTube once in a while. It just wasn't my life anymore. So these people really thought I was out of it. But you can look anywhere. Now all of a sudden, there's other people that are all of a sudden playing acoustic guitar that they're promoting. Okay, well, everybody's played acoustic guitar. There's so many guitar players play acoustic guitar. But they were trying to convince me that that's not true anymore. So everything I wanted to do, they wanted me to do the opposite. That's all it was. In other words, they may or may not have taken my songs when I was with Steven. They may or may not have. And the bottom line is they want to get rid of Tracilyn. The songs that I had, like Ragtop Cadillac, when in the right connection and used properly, that song is a major, 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 major hit. It is a major financial resource for years to come. That song can be used multitudes of ways for years to come. Anything from commercials to children toys, you name it. Albums, other recording artists, fast version, slow version, you name it. And the bottom line is, why wouldn't they want to get rid of its mother and the parent of the song? Why wouldn't they want to get rid of it? So whether or not that's true, who knows? But I know that this has happened, and for a song like that, singing about Elvis and all that other stuff, why wouldn't someone like Elvis Enterprise be interested in that song? From what I've learned, they're greedy son of a bitches anyway. You know, the people who do the business aspect. Doesn't mean I don't love Elvis. In fact, when I was down there in the street corner, on the sidewalk in the Oregon district, a gentleman walked up to me, and what did he say? What did he say? I'll tell you what he said. He told me about how Elvis Enterprise, or the people that was working with Elvis, basically raped him financially. They took advantage of him. Okay? Well, that happens in relationships. People take advantage. So, in my opinion, being the icon that they made Elvis be, you would think that there would be serious interest in somebody who wrote a song like I did. Well, the thing is guess what? Somehow I am connected. I don't know how or why, but through my Elvis ice cream art, my love for Elvis, I feel like Steven wants me not to like Elvis and does not want me to sing songs that connect with other people about things like that. By the way, an article of mine, a very small article, a life story snippet, was sent to Elvis Enterprise, and I viewed them as being very nice people who posted my life story, or not my life story, they posted the snippet on their website. Okay, it was during a time in 2010 when I was going through a lot of difficulties. A lot of difficulties. Alright. And depending on who wrote that, who read it, and if Steven used to work for Elvis Enterprise, who knows what's up. But I also have, you know, whose attention that I got, whether it be corrupted people or not corrupted people. Okay, with that being said, Girl for Survival, I had mentioned before that, I'm a German girl, Pennsylvania Dutch. I'm a Midwestern spirit. I've noticed that there were celebrities and stuff that were sightings that were in my hometown that I was born in a physical sense in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Justin Bieber, or whatever his name is, was one of them that was in there. But uniquely, since I shared my life story, there were celebrity sightings within Lebanon, Pennsylvania. And I've lived there my whole life, and you heard a couple things, but not like after I shared my life story. Now, why was that? Who knows? Who knows why? I'm not insinuating anything. But I just took notice to this. But I also said that number one, I'm strongly attracted to Italian men. I love Italians. In fact, just Italians, because the first girl I ever dated as a child growing up, she was Italian, and she's the one I was attracted to the most at that point in my life. I had to get to know her. And I relate that back to television programs like Taxi with Tony Danza and John Travolta from Grease and Saturday Night Fever and all that other stuff. Welcome back, Cotter. But, I knew then that watching those television shows and movies that I was attracted to Italian people. Well, the girl that I dated, Tracy, back in my youth, I was strongly attracted to her, and she was Italian. I have explored with a lot of various relationships as an adult entertainer, and I found that my attraction to Italian people are quite strong. So, I used to tease about the fact that I belong to somebody who is Italian, and someday I'll have an Italian last name. With that being said, I also said that, I belong to the mafia. Well, this comes from watching a lot of movies, some with Marilyn Monroe in it, some of them with a lot of the other. I love the older actresses from years ago, the movies and the actresses. The style, the spirit that was found within them. The presentation was much different. There's some similarities, but different. With that being said, it's what I was attracted to. And the gentleman smiled as he looked around, and he said, the mafia is everywhere. And that's when I realized, whether it's the mafia, whether it's the Illuminati, who knows what it is, corporations, they are most certainly monitoring me and kind of rubbing everything that I'm talking about to myself, etc., into my face. Do they want me to be convinced that the things I think about and talk about manifest into reality? Again, I just said what? Money. Where's it at? Where there is none. Okay, good. A house with a white picket fence. Just like in the lyrics of one of my songs. Where's it at? It ain't there. Exactly. A horse trotting down through the woods. I don't see it. Somewhere on the planet it is. Okay. With that being said, I already mentioned about somebody saying that about 20 minutes outside of the city, playing guitar all day. I mentioned about them seeing me when I'm looking into the mirror, putting on my makeup. It all often bothered me because, like, here in Dayton, I would have been a lot more at peace if I would have got a nice home in the city, at least. Versus with the way things happen. It's all about circumstances, is what I'm realizing. We have not been taught right, so I didn't know. It is about circumstances. You can live anywhere if the circumstances are favorable to your heart's desires. With that being said, somebody had mentioned to me when I was in Cincinnati, I know somebody who lives about 20 minutes outside of the city, and he plays the guitar, all day long. And I live 20 minutes outside of Dayton. And I gotta say that I want to touch base with it. I love the apartment, but I'm miserable. Since I've been there, I have a serious sinus infection. I don't know if it's a mold that's going on. I have been seeing doctors for this. Because of our city council, and the person who owns the building or the group of people who do, the bottom line is they have limited parking for the amount of people that live there. They have a shortage of parking spaces, which makes it stressful for everybody who lives there. With that being said, I want to touch some base with that, but this has been stressing me out because I feel like I'm a prisoner in Dayton versus living freely. All right? And a lot of it is because I'm living in the ideas of others, and in my opinion, that don't care about poor people. Okay? Plain and simple. And I believe that's what happened to me through the process of this. Who cares about Tracilyn? Well, I'm here to tell you, I believe that a lot of these religious leaders and stuff were invading my privacy, taking my life story and using it for their personal gain. They do it while people are going through pain and suffering. It's not just entertainment for them, it's serious business for them. They can't be out there living their life. How would they be living it? They would be consumed. In other words, how do they relate to other people? Well, they get somebody who's in pain and suffering, they observe them. And now they can write, do movies, do scripts, whatever the deal is, songs, art. Chip lady. I told you about that there was a lady that was there, and she mentioned about having a chip in her head. And that kind of freaked me out a little bit because I was talking about that out loud to myself. And I've never heard anybody else say that before in my life. It changes YouTube, book, Facebook, I already talked about that. Other countries overseas in PA. Where are you going? Okay. I believe that they also cut my Facebook page. They do like locations. I believe that they cut the direct connections with my local area of Dayton. And the reason that I say that is I believe that at some point it came to me within my thoughts and had mentioned to me, where do you want to go, Tracilyn? Where do you want to go? Because I've been complaining since I've been out here that I feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere. I want to really do something with my life. I'm not connecting with people. I mean, if I shared with you the story of the years of my life other ways, you would see that in a worldly sense and personal sense, I was accomplishing a lot more because I was intelligently moving my body to locations and stuff that made sense for me to get my life together in a fashion that was enjoyable. That's all I've been trying to do since I came out here. And because of my location and because of circumstances, like now I have this sinus infection. I don't know if there's a mold going on in this apartment building. I need to investigate. I need to find out. This is crazy, the stuff that I've been experiencing since coming to Ohio. I love Ohio. I love Dayton. I am not satisfied at all with my circumstances. Okay? Not at all. I can't wait to touch base with that. It's coming up. We have 3 things to talk about, and then I can finally move forward with my life instead of talking about things from my past. But basically, now when I post stuff online, instead of connecting with people here in Ohio, they had it centered off where my Facebook was only overseas. I was only getting friend requests and stuff by people overseas. That was it. I'm putting content out on a semi-regular basis. I've been observing this for a long time. Somebody is playing with my Facebook page. They're withdrawing how many people maybe are being exposed to my videos that I post. They're also dictating the location of where my majority of my postings will be. Right now I'm getting more requests from Washington or, you know, like Maryland. In Pennsylvania. The thing is, they kept asking, where do you want to go, Tracilyn? Where do you want to go? So they pretty much set my Facebook page up to where I want to go versus where I am is what matters. In other words, they're playing Lord God with my life. And it's keeping me a prisoner versus being assistance for me to be able to have a healthy life and navigate myself to doing things that matter to me. So, my Facebook was overseas for quite some time. Imagine how good that felt. Knowing what can I do about it? Can't do nothing about it. Well, I think by law and legally, you should be able to do a lot about it. Where are the stipulations and regulations within Facebook? What does it say? And we the people, are we going to just let them navigate our Facebook page to wherever the hell they want? You know, I never thought that I would see the day that all I had for access to communicate with the human race would be a social network page. But I need it because I'm out here alone in Dayton, Ohio. Because I got my ass kicked as a student for Joyce Myers and Joel Osteen. And I didn't know how to imply intelligence. Now I do. And now I'm up against a lot. Because if people at Facebook are playing with my Facebook page, people on YouTube are blocking everything, they're blocking my life and they're smoldering me that I can't fucking live and connect with other people that might appreciate who I am. I also realized that all of a sudden, I was talking one day, I was originally back in 2010, when I came out, I was doing Tracilyn Ministries. I have clip art, I have business cards, I have all of that. I started off, but when I was living with somebody, they kept on putting obstacles in the way that made it challenging for somebody who was weak at the time because I was hurt, I was wounded, I was all messed up in the head. I'm trying to get my life together to do something that I could enjoy with myself. Just like any American, I want to work, I want to make money, I want to fucking goddamn put my life together in a manner that makes sense to me. Things to look forward to. But because society has been programmed to be ignorant towards people who are living in the heart, I have nothing but obstacles continually. And I'm not allowed to be a part of other people's creations for whatever reasons, numerous reasons. With that being said, now I'm dealing with this control freak, whoever it is, that's blocking my Facebook from getting out there and getting, there's no reason. I'm a good looking person, very talented. I put content out on a semi-regular basis. There's no reason whatsoever that I would not fill up my friends look and it would be overflowing with people who are in my general area. Instead, because they navigated my page to another location in America, I am now networking with people who are in Pennsylvania, Florida, or not, yeah, wherever, in that central area of Pennsylvania and Maryland. Why do I want to do that? And where I want to go is nobody's business anyway. I don't need to know that. I need to be myself and do the things that I love to do. And here's the thing, being true to my heart is the most important. And with that being said, I know myself and my own needs. So that way, when opportunities present themselves in some manner, I can make my own choice, yes or no, that's for me. It's not about where you want to go. Where you want to go isn't as important as circumstances. So Tracilyn Ministries now came out. There's a lady that goes by Tracilyn Ministries. Well, I don't know when she got started. I wrote on her video one day, you know, when was her first use of Tracilyn Ministries? Because I was doing Tracilyn Ministries. She also does Tracilyn fashion jewelry. So meanwhile, what I'm getting at is I'm stumbling around. I don't know how long that's been around. It might have been around a long time. But I'm becoming aware of it. Tracilyn Jones. Okay, all I know is when I named myself Tracilyn, all one word, Tracilyn, I know I've done research and I'm into uniqueness, and I know that once you're out there, things are going to start to happen. But the bottom line is, I did not see the name Tracilyn being used. So this is starting to happen over a season of time. Is Tracilyn Jones really Tracilyn Jones, or is it a fake name that a lot of actresses and actors make up names as they go for whatever reason? They call themselves this in the public, then they live a private life with their real name or whatever, a name that they gave themselves there. So people do this stuff. I don't. I'm Tracilyn, and that's just the way it is. I started off 2010 doing Tracilyn Ministries. My main thing was to put together a pamphlet and everything. I wanted to do stuff with my life, and I was ready to go even then. The problem is I didn't know what steps to take. And because I was listening to these preachers talk about stuff intelligently, I didn't know what steps to take. I was trusting Santa Claus with my life. And this led me into a whole pool of a lot of what I would consider evil people. Now, also, in 2012, I'm putting myself out as Tracilyn, also known as VCAT. Well, VCAT, when you get into the business of it all, is, you could probably, I can do a lot with things, but the bottom line is that VCAT is being used in a lot of different ways. For me, it's my nickname. And you gotta be careful when you start using names in entertainment especially, because when you start using names in entertainment, you're crossing the lines of possibly having a lawsuit brought against you, because some people like myself trademark your name. So I have my name Tracilyn trademarked. I'm devastated over the fact that when I start putting my content out there, I felt like with me, I kind of uploaded stuff, but then I didn't want it up, and I took it down for all different reasons, and I put it up. The bottom line is, where did was Tracilyn Jones real? Who knows? I don't know if she is or not. I personally don't care. The bottom line is, without getting into much detail of it, I also did VCAT. And with that, now we have some other YouTuber that's out there who is now the Cat Family. Okay? Now, why is he the Cat Family? I don't know. But I know that nobody's last name is Cat. Not unless they had it legally changed to that. So we have the Cat Family. What I'm saying is, you put your content out there in YouTube, and I started to have like 35,000 people, 35,000 subscribers, which isn't a lot to a lot of these bigger YouTube channels, but it was something to me. It was getting started. I did this with an acoustic guitar and a webcam. Okay? So I have like 35,000 people just being myself with a webcam. Well, now I'm starting to record my music, and I have a lot of it recorded, and I'm doing videos, and I'm still Tracilyn. And the bottom line is, now I have 35. And why do I have 35? Because YouTube is blocking me. Okay? And meanwhile, this person who is in the Cat Family, right, where did that come from? Who knows? But back in the day, I had my stuff up, and you know who he is. The bottom line is, you put your content out there, other people see it, and they run with ideas. Now, here's the thing. All my inspiration came from people from years ago. I don't believe in looking in the now unless it's through relationships of friends and stuff like that. You know, how I got my VCAT name is a long story in a way. It's kind of short, but no, actually it's short. But, you know, it was given to me by a guy when I was down in Memphis dancing on a wall and singing to Elvis. The spirit of Elvis. He called me the Crazy Cat. Now, that's popular in blues, etc., etc. A lot of people call themselves Cat. But the thing is, what I'm saying is I realize that these people love to rub this stuff in my face. So I'm not saying the people who actually have these names or anything like that, but these people that are playing with my thoughts, constantly rubbing things in my face. Just like now there's that transsexual, or I don't know if it's I don't know nothing about it. I don't watch stuff like this. Is she a transsexual female? Is she, how does she relate in the spectrum? She's not male or female. You know, we're not, and in my opinion, we're not, but whatever it is. But anyway, they're trying to rub stuff in my face, and the bottom line is, would you believe me if I told you that when I came out here, all I wanted to do was relocate down to Nashville, network with songwriters and people in the music business, find the very best musicians, connect with them, and go on tour. I was hoping to have a book by that time. I couldn't figure out how to do this because I was trusting Santa Claus instead of receiving intelligence. It's not hard to do, and I could tell you how to move anywhere in the country that you really want to. I'm getting ready to sit down myself and write out the details. Maybe I'll share that with you on camera. See, I'm doing music as life and business for the rest of my life, short or long. And in my opinion, when looking at the map, Dayton is not necessarily the best place for me to live. I love Dayton. It all depends on circumstances. I like my apartment. I don't like the location. I don't like the limited parking and the stress that's involved, and I gotta be home by a certain time or my car could possibly get towed away. I don't like this infection with the inside of my face all flamed up, trying to breathe all the time. And no offense to anybody, but I don't like being poor when I know that I should be very well-to-do. Not to mention, I am worthy of my heart's desires being fulfilled. With that being said, you put your content out there, it's one thing. You got to expect that if you believe and you love your stuff, other people are going to believe and love your stuff too. And by the natural instinct, we observe something, we take it, and then we apply it in our life. Okay? It's just the way it happens. So I try not to get upset about it. It's disappointing me for this because I wasn't taught right how to be in healthy and compatible relationships. I ended up having to take whatever I could get my hands on as a place to live. And it didn't come without some challenges. A lot of challenge. If only because they have limited parking alone is stressful. And with this infection, my health, I don't want to say it's deteriorating, but it has been affected negatively living there. I don't necessarily know what to do about it because I am in poverty right now. I'm doing the best I can with it. I know that I want to still, it's not a dream anymore, it's a vision. I still want to play theatrical, beautiful venues. I still want the same things I did when I came here to Dayton. Now here's the thing. I can't wait to share with you more about my life. I got like 3 more things to cover up. I want to be presenting myself extremely happy. But these people have turned this into something that I didn't want to share my daily life continuously on YouTube. I'd rather be rocking and rolling and going on tour and doing my music and networking and meeting people that way. You know, to have to sit down and know that because you were a student of ignorance, you ended up being totally disconnected from everything that you once knew. And now you're here and you're determined to get your life together and fulfill your heart's desires. These are things that we're going to talk about in the near future. Meanwhile, beware. Don't fall into agreement with somebody who is speaking. Yes. So that what I've realized is there's now a lot of transsexuals out there. It's about time. But meanwhile, I'm one transsexual that got kicked in the head. And here, take whatever you can get your hands on. And meanwhile, I'm being blocked on Facebook, YouTube. They're trying to do everything that they can in a mental state to keep me oppressed and keep me away from doing it. Doing my music and stuff like that. And I believe it's for a lot of reasons that are bitter. And I don't know all the real details of it, but it's a horrible place to be because I am by nature an extremely happy person when I'm being true to my heart. Circumstances will most certainly do all kinds of bizarre things in your emotions. It'll feed you depression, you have personality disorders, if that's what you want to call it. For me, I have severe anger outbursts at times because you're trying to deal with this. And you know how you got here. And you want to make things right in your life. And by the way, one last funny thing is, I realized when I put my poop out there with the Lion's Head, I have things with Lions, the Elvis Red Velvet Ice Cream Art. I pooped one day while living at Huber Heights, and my poop, if you look on my YouTube channel, is Lion's Head. There's actually 3 of them there, but you can clearly see 2 of them. I was surprised when I saw it, and I was excited, and I took pictures, and I posted it on YouTube. It was in a very brief time that Snoop Dogg was now Snoop Lion. Is he still Snoop Lion? Who knows? But I found that to be not a coincidence. What was it about? Who knows? In other words, I just believe that a lot of people in the industry, or Steven directly, somehow, directly or indirectly, have access to listening to me right now. And maybe it's just through the camera of me posting things online. Anyway, let's continue on. You probably won't hear from me for a while. I'm going to be working on some video projects. I'm so excited. A tragedy happened to me as an escort while I was in Connecticut. People impersonating officers, were they real, were they not? When I was in York County, officers there, which I want to talk about, I wanted to leave a message for him. He framed me. I was never guilty of prostitution. And the son of a bitch framed me, insisted that I did it. I took the money. I never took no money. But I had to take the charge against me, which has been cleared up, of course. But it didn't go without messing up my brain and making life a lot more difficult. I was traumatized because of that. The entire police department, while I was there getting fingerprinted, insulted me. They mocked me. I was alone there, weak and wounded, and I seen how corrupted the law was, and there was nothing that I could do, or nobody that was there with me that could have done anything, could have elevated to something. I'm talking about it now because these are things that have pissed me off over the years because it traumatized me. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. Cops like that should be fired instantly. And I just can't help but think of how many people he framed. And how many people they made fun of when they went in there to get fingerprinted. We'll talk about that sometime in the near future. I'm going to be calling various people. If my psychologist that I had back in there, out of Lancaster, would have simply gave me advice on how I could get my basic needs met, it might have saved me from a lot of unnecessary emotional pain. I may or may not have ever watched Joyce Meyer's ministry, and Joel Osteen, and other people, J.T. Jake and stuff. And became a viewer of thinking that these people had any kind of answers as to who or what God was. My life got really messed up because I was under the influence during my pain and suffering that we weren't taught right psychologically. So I'm reaching out in a spiritual sense. I need God. Because why? Because I'm having the crap kicked out of me emotionally. I looked to these people like many people do. And I have learned that they miss a lot of very valuable information that when applied, now you start getting healthier results. I have personal messages for them. I don't appreciate Christian leaders not warning the general public. If it's on television and stuff like that, in my opinion, by law, the viewer should be pre-warned that it is merely entertainment. Somebody else's idea. Something has to be done about it. And how good would they feel knowing that they mess up a lot of people's lives? Would they be proud of themselves? In my opinion, they should retire from their position. I love you. Don't fall into agreement with everything that I talk about. My heart means well. This is somebody who just simply wanted to get things right in their own heart and rock and roll for the rest of my life. Taken advantage of by everybody in the industry. A lot of people in the industry. Not everybody. A lot of people. Was it through one source? Stephen C. Johnson? Who I wish that I would never have to talk about again for the rest of my life. He's just a short, pudgy man who sits at a computer all day long in his boxer shorts, expecting that other people should look better. By the way, he told me he's looking for somebody who's, I guess, dressed nice all the time. Why doesn't he go find her and leave Tracilyn alone? Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's way too long for me. I have a lot of other things to do. I'm going to write down what it is that I need to share here in the future. This is the World's Inspiration signing off. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Don't forget to check out my other videos. Life story. And I have a music page. And I have a website at tracilyn.com. That's TRACILYN.com. I also have a Facebook /Tracilyn, the numbers 21. And I also have a Facebook like page, which is Tracilyn, TRACILYN, music, MUSIC.